Ebusia former kwaba e de Ghanatube so ensem a ekoso ewo oman ni mo onsa ebeka na sene amatena se amaja akonye se ensem a ekoso no makwakoboaboa ebi ano e de apa ebusia for ye ensem no entempa no ye beka kotie ensem no na yeba na matwa so e de amount.
Let's talk about this whole thing by the Trump administration. What really, from where you sit, what do they want to do, or what is informing this decision by the administration?
Well, good morning to your viewers, and good morning to yourself. Thank you for having me. I think that I have always said that this is a social mandate. It's a social contract mandate that the Trump administration is seeking to implement.
Okay.
In fact, when Trump came to the Oval Office, he signed what you call protection of the American people from invasion. And this has been the fulcrum of his immigration policies, seeking to create a disincentive or discourage people wanting to settle as immigrants in the U.S. And so if you look at the whole architecture of his campaign promise, it was about getting immigrants out of the U.S. He started with cracking down on people with criminal backgrounds. But that is not giving him the kind of numbers he wants to show to the American people that he is doing what he promised he was going to do. So he moved from people with hardened, background, criminal backgrounds, to the U.S.-Mexican border, wanting to cut down on immigrants. And then when that was not yielding the numbers he wanted, he then switched to student visa, applicant. And you saw the whole hula balloon that came out of it. And then from there, he moved to what you call country-specific visa arrangement, where some countries, 19 of them, have been issued travel bans, some partial, some full, to the extent that Ghana has been affected, reducing this visa reciprocity arrangements from 5 years to 3 months single entry. And then on top of that, the Trump administration has implemented what they call the big beautiful bill that Donald Trump made so much noise about, if you want to put it that way. And it was a number of issues that came up before it was accepted in Congress. One of them was immigration, there was health, there was taxes, amongst any other thing. But what you are interested in the immigration part. So the Judicial Review Committee in Congress came up with this idea that, look, you are so much interested in illegal immigrants as one of the routes, illegal migration as one of the routes that people settle in the U.S. But you need to look at a legal perspective, because that is also one of the ways by which people enter into the U.S. and then stick to the country without wanting to leave. So look at the legal means of coming to the U.S. and put a seal, try to regulate it. So one of the things that they came up with when the big beautiful bill was accepted was what they call the visa integrity fee. So right now, for non-immigrant visas, F, J, and M, there is a visa integrity fee that when you have been granted a visa and you've passed your interview, you have to pay an amount of $250. That was for the non-immigrant visas, like I said, J, M, and F, including student. But what has been implemented now, they call it the temporary final rule, which is also an arrangement of the Department of State, is that now there's what they call the visa bond. Now this is the new catch.
Okay.
The visa bond is that once you've been granted a visa and you have paid a visa integrity fee, you now have to pay an amount. It's a graduated amount from $5,000 to $15,000.
So the visa integrity fee, which is $250,
is different.
Is different from the bond.
Exactly.
So after you pay the integrity fee, $250, then you pay the bond.
Exactly, you pay the bond.
Okay.
It's a graduated amount, but it's also it's based on the discretionary powers of the visa consular officer. So, of course, if they by your document, if they see that you frequent the place and you obey their rules, you're probably not going to be fined that $5,000.
Okay.
But if you have somebody that has some history, or you're a first-time traveler, in my opinion, or you are not trustworthy, in quotes, that you return, then that amount between $5,000 to $15,000 will be slashed on you. The point is that, as of now, the policy was supposed to be implemented in 20th August. But we woke up yesterday and realized that 2 countries have already been slapped with this kind of bond, Malawi and Zambia. So for those 2 countries from today, when they are going to apply for, but I should also say that it's also for the B1, B2, that is the business and tourist visa category. That is what this bond affects.
Okay.
And so for Malawi, people from Malawi and people from Zambia, if they are going to the US on any of these visa category, whether B1 or B2, then they are compelled to pay this amount of money. And then when they have played by the rules of their visa terms or the status of their visa and they are returning, these monies could be given to them. So if you go there for these two countries, if you go there and you overstay your visa, if you go there and you return after the visa has expired, and then if you go there and then you attempt to adjust your status and seek for asylum, these monies won't be given to you. So there's a way. They are sealing, in psychologically and physically, they are discouraging people from wanting to come there.
Because if I leave $5,000 with the consulate, the embassy here, I would want to come back and take it.
Exactly.
$5,000 is
a lot of money.
50,000 Ghana cedis.
It's a lot of money, and it's graduated, so they can decide whether it should be 10 or it should be 15.
Look at
and
that.
The idea is that they understand that a lot of people go on this legal route. They go through this legal route as tourists or as business people, and then when they get there, they adjust their status by seeking asylum. So once you go there and you want to adjust your status, what it means is that these monies will not be returned to you. I think that eventually they'll begin to look at not only those that are seeking asylum, but those that even go there and wanting to change through green card and or maybe through marriage. So I'm thinking, this is how it starts. It starts as, I thought this was only going to be one of the means they were tackling immigration, but I hear they are even wanting to touch, and they started touching bit by bit, even the immigrant visa applications. So it is this whole idea that we must also begin to look at legal visa applications, not only through those that are coming through US-Mexico border or those coming from the Southern American states, but through the legal perspective. And my fear is that now, as it stands now, Ghana is not part.
Okay.
Because
of all of these restrictions.
No, I mean for the visa bond.
Okay.
Ghana is not part.
What about the visa integrity fee?
That is applicable to everybody.
To everyone.
Everybody.
So if you are from Ghana and you're traveling to the US, you pay the visa integrity fee. Which of course I read that it's not clear whether it will be refunded or not.
Good.
But it's possible that it can be refunded.
As of now, and this is one of the things that I think, this is one of the things that I believe that it will be a backlash to the US visa application system. Because already they have a backlog. They still have backlog from COVID. They have no clear ways as to how these monies will be collected. And there is no clear way as to how this money will be refunded when you play by the books. In fact, the Department of Homeland Security has said that if you look at the clause, the monies may be refunded.
Yes.
That is the visa integrity fee.
Yeah.
As for the visa bond, I suspect that because of how huge the money is, they are wanting to shy away from an implication of legal shakedown. They don't want to be seen as legally shaking down people for vulnerable people. And so these monies, have to be returned. But for now, Ghana is not part. It's only Malawi and then Zambia. I am hoping that the punishments, or not the punishment, the sanctions for these visa arrangements begins from those that were categorically banned, Chad, Sudan, and those that are facing partial ban. And then it comes down to those that are not facing partial ban, but the reciprocity arrangement has changed, including Ghana.
Yeah.
So it comes down from 5 years to 3 months single entry. I am suspecting that for these countries that Ghana is part, if we are able to put our house in order and we are able to pursue some high-level diplomacy, maybe because we have a 2 months window for that 3 months thing to really be effective or to be permanent. If we are able to put these things in order, we probably might not be on the route of these visa bond, because there are things that the U.S. government is seeking from these countries. One, there are so many countries with visa overstays. And the government is not issuing what they call travel document for them to deport them back. In international law, you can't send somebody to their country when they don't have what they call travel document. And that's why the US, to sidestep this, has implemented what they call third countries option. So if your country is not willing to accept you, the US can now transport you to another third country. It has happened to Eswatini. Yeah. Eswatini is taking in deported criminals or deported migrants from the US. Yeah. So the point I'm making is that maybe if we're able to put our house in order and address some of the issues that the United States government is talking about in respect to Ghana's visa overstay, maybe there will be some way out.
How do we do that? We go after our student or what?
So one, and I like to put this dynamics in perspective. So far, the visa bond, Ghana is not part. It is Malawi and like I said, Zambia. It's a 12-month pilot project that they are seeking to implement. So let's say maybe by the 12 months, if they think it's not yielding enough dividends, you'll probably scrape it off. But it can degenerate to other visa categories. Right now, it's just the visa category. I mean, B1, B2. But if it moves to F1 and moves to J1, that means majority of our students that are seeking to acquire visa to the US will have to pay this safety amount. That is if Ghana is added to the list.
Okay.
It's a huge sum of money. And Ghanaian students are becoming, the visa overstays are becoming quite ubiquitous. It's in the face of the US. Because I give you these statistics. In the 2023 or 2024 fiscal year, 65,000 student applicants students applied to US for visas.
From Ghana.
From Ghana. Out of that, 25,000 visas were given out. According to the US State Department, if you go to check the number of students in US schools, out of that 25,000, only 9,000 of them are in the classroom studying. So the question is, what happened to the 11,000? So we don't want to begin to create these kind of problems so that the F visa category becomes a target. On the whole, the number of visa overstays of US is 7.50. The US has a threshold of 15%. So on the whole, we do well. But when it comes to the F category, which is the student, student applicant to the US embassy, that is where the problem comes up.
So the students go and they don't want to return.
Exactly, they don't want to return.
They use the school route to enter the US.
Exactly.
And when they go, they kick
exactly.
out.
I mean, there are pros and cons. To a very large extent, the US benefit because the US is known as, for its soft power, it's a cultural melting pot. So you have beautiful minds from all over the world. I myself, I'm a beneficiary of the US educational system.
Okay.
So I was once at Yale. Now, the system is such that there's a lot of opportunities. And so it lures the best mind into the country. And these people have contributed significantly to the scientific development and in financial development in other spheres. And so it inures to the benefit of the US when these best beautiful minds are imported into their country. But it's politics. And they say
when you sign a contract with your people, you need to
have to, exactly. And I always say that the Trump administration is not very popular now. If you look at the polls to the government, it's not very popular. And the midterm election is staring in their faces next year, November. So he must really be seen as doing something, because there's a lot of things that is making the government unpopular. The Epstein files and other things with Russia and how do you call it, Israel. So this is one of the things that, so you see that there's one immigration card or the other that he pulls every now and then. Is it that student? Is it that specific country bans? Is it that the Mexico, war?
And now Russia is also denying some allegations that the Trump administration is placing on them. I read somewhere that they are denying categorically of a certain allegation. I don't know if you followed that one too. So it looks like there's a spat between US.
Oh, of course. I mean,
you need to have ways of covering your back.
Right. So these are a number of things that are taking effect as far as the immigration front is concerned. And these monies, like I said, will be given back to you when you obey the terms of condition attached to this visa, category. But I have been saying that we need to brace for impact because it doesn't come across as things are going to get in the next 4 years. Okay. It's a very long 4 years.
This is just
7 months. Yeah, just 7 months to the administration, and we see the blowback. That is going to have that implication for the business community within Ghana.
I was going to ask.
Of course,
but how?
So there are a number of ways you could look at this. That is if Ghana is added to the list.
Okay, now we have not been added.
And that is why I expect our Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration. I believe in quiet diplomacy. Do underground work, but see the right people and deal with them. At this point, the Trump administration is behaving the policies it's implementing is beyond US, it's beyond Ghana and US ambassador to Ghana. We need to engage in high-level diplomacy, right, with the State Department, and it should be quietly done. You do it behind the scenes, but you show work and you put in pragmatic effort. We need to do the hard work. We need to lift the boots from the ground and see how we can make some arrangement or negotiation with the US government. We are already imposed a 3-month single entry visa. I think that something should be done quietly, and then address the very things that the U.S. government wants us to address, if they are possible, so that because this is just 12 months, a pilot program. Eventually, they are going to add some of the countries to the list. So how do we make sure that we are addressing the initial problem that made us to be put on that 3-month single entry, so that it does not degenerate into us being added to that list? Okay. But come to your point, the implications. Look. There are significant number of businessmen who need to run to the US every now and then. The last time I was having a conversation with the Association of Ghana Industries, with their regional representative, and he was telling us how this is affecting them because there are a number of them that are business partners in the US, and every now and then they have to shuffle in between.
Yeah.
And now that you've been issued a 3-month single entry. When you come back, you have to reapply if you stay beyond 3 months. The hurdle is the visa appointment times. Now, people that are applying for visas now in the US are getting dates in 2026 and 2027. So if you have to shuffle in between Ghana and US as a businessman, and then you have to go through this, it's a lot of inconvenience. The money is a problem, but I mean, if you're a lucrative business person, this might not be a problem. But for ordinary persons that are in some, short, mid-term businesses, anytime you have to apply for a visa, you pay $160. You pay a visa integrity fee and $250. As to whether you get a visa appointment time is a problem. And then also, if somebody has to seek for medical treatment, and it's such consequential that it has to be done in the US.
So I read that the $250 will be paid by those who've been issued a visa.
Exactly. So when you go for the interview and then you pass, and you are going to be issued a visa, they will send a link.
Okay.
At least I know that for the visa bond, they will send a link that you have to arrange. And I have to say that, like I said, this is part of the US's approach to curbing, these immigrants through the legal way. I think 3 or 4 months ago, there was this guy called Sullivan. Sullivan had come from Egypt, right? I think in Boulder, Colorado. And then when there was an Israel protest, he went there and threw a makeshift fire or bomb. Not a bomb, a makeshift fire, if you want to put it that way. When the Judicial Review Committee in Congress was talking about how to look at sealing the legal route to immigrants, they used this as a case study. Okay. So Sullivan had come from Egypt on a B1, B2 visa. And when he came, he converted it to asylum seeking status.
Okay.
And this was somebody that was engaged in what by US standard was a terrorist act. So the US government used that as a case study and said, look, this is what is happening. So let us block all these legal avenues that people come and then they change their status into asylum seekers, or they get somebody to marry and then they acquire a green card. I'm thinking that eventually it's going to transcend into that areas, not only those that are coming in, but those that are coming in and using the right ways, like marriage, to acquire, their papers,
green card and all of that.
Yeah. So I think that this is a long 4 years ahead of us.
Okay.
And we have to see what happens.
So as you say, silent diplomacy.
Silent diplomacy, quiet diplomacy, but high level engagement.
Okay. All right.
Your ebusia for Яhocking and Sem no aba me gidi se utie ni ye pa ubetimi eja comments no ama me ewo comment section na mejebore akenkan ni nyina ede amo ansa na medesa edition beba ewie na ebusia information say na first time I show me ewo channel we so a ebusia for subscribe na hit notification bell no efa mama for more and quick updates after remember we fi say obe like na wasan share ye videos ni nyina amaye aha Ghanatube so mo amodofo snowy ni sisi ade makram